Could the housing market in the South be teetering on the edge of total meltdown? Inventory is exploding, prices are getting hacked, and buyers are ghosting. We're zooming into Florida and Texas today to unpack what's happening, why it's happening, and what it means for you. Spoiler alert, it's a wild ride, and the data's fresh as of March 2025, so let's dive in, peel back the layers, and figure out if this is a crash, a correction, or just a hiccup that got everyone buzzing. Now let's kick things off in Florida, where the market's flipped upside down from its pandemic glory days. Picture this. Over 212,000 homes were for sale statewide in January 2025, a record high, up nearly 20% from last year. Now, that's a forest of for sale signs popping up everywhere you look. Sellers in cities like Orlando and Jacksonville and Tampa are slashing prices left and right, dropping thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars just to catch a buyer's eye. Now, what's driving this chaos? Demand is fizzling out like a flat soda on a hot day. The remote work migration that turned Florida into a red-hot destination has slowed to a trickle, and rising costs are sending folks packing. Home insurance rates are skyrocketing. You can blame those on relentless hurricanes. And new condo safety laws are piling on HOA fees that hit like a sucker punch. Meanwhile, builders went absolutely bananas after the pandemic, churning out new homes like they were printing money. The result? Listings are stacking up faster than pancakes at a Sunday brunch buffet. In Tampa, prices are down 3.5% from last year, and homes are sitting unsold for weeks, sometimes months, way longer than the lightning-fast sales that we saw just a few years back. Analysts aren't yelling crash from the rooftops just yet. They're leaning towards a harsh correction, but let me tell you, this is a million miles from the bidding wars and the cash offers that defined 2021. It's a buyer's playground now, and sellers are sweating bullets trying to keep up. Now, let's hop over to Texas, where the plot thickens, with a Lone Star twist that's just as juicy. Home prices are set to drop in 31 cities. Think Houston, San Antonio, and every spot in between based on the latest 2025 trends hitting the headlines. Zoom into Austin and Dallas, and you'll see values slipping 5% or more in some neighborhoods, places that were untouchable a couple years ago. In Austin alone, new listings are flooding like a spring rain. Sales are dragging their feet, and inventory is ballooning like a hot air balloon at a country fair. So what's causing this? Overbuilding. Texas was a construction king during the pandemic, cranking out homes like it was on an assembly line on overdrive, but now there's a glut, and it's impossible to miss. San Antonio's even landed on a list of 5 US markets losing value at warp speed, and it's not alone. Toss in mortgage rates hovering over 6.5%. The Fed has basically stopped doing interest rate cuts at this time, and buyers are just kind of sitting on their hands and waiting things out to see what happens. The whole move to Texas hype that drew crowds from California and beyond, it's fading fast, and it's being replaced by a more cautious, maybe not right now vibe that has sellers pacing the floor and realtors rethinking their pitch. So what's causing this slowdown in the South? Let's break it down to the 3 main culprits that are kind of shaking things up. First, overbuilding. It has both states drowning in inventory. It was an overcorrection. Nearly 300,000 homes are up for grabs across the South, which is way more than we saw in 2006 at the peak before the last big crash. And that's a jaw-dropping, eye-popping number that's hard to wrap your head around. Second, affordability is taking a nosedive. Florida's insurance nightmare, where premiums can tack on thousands of extra dollars each year, and Texas's rising property taxes are punching buyers straight in the wallet. And it's making homeownership feel like a pipe dream for some. Third, the pandemic boom is over. Remote workers aren't storming into the gates anymore, and some are even packing up their bags and heading back to the north or west as they're being forced to return to office. The oversupply is so bad that if demand doesn't pick up soon, prices could slide even further. Think of it like a seesaw with way too much weight on one end, tipping the whole game off balance. But wait a second, is this really a crash? Not everyone's ready to sound the fire alarm. Some say Florida's market is just in transition, softening up, not crashing down like a house of cards. On a national level, low inventories might put a floor under a total freefall, but there's still a housing shortage in plenty of places outside of the South. But down here, it's a different beast entirely. Florida's listings are surging while sales limp along like a tired old dog, and Texas is right there with it, wrestling with its oversupply demons. Some analysts are hinting at a full-on crisis if this doesn't turn around, but we're not quite there yet. It's not quite the 2008 levels. So if we zoom in even closer and get more granular, in Florida, sellers are pulling out all the stops, staging homes like they're straight out of a glossy magazine, desperate to stand out in an area where there's just tons of options growing day by day. Buyers are just spoiled by choice, which has been barren for years, strolling through houses with the upper hand and taking their sweet time to decide and pick their favorite. Over in Texas, Austin's losing some of its pandemic shine. Tech workers who flock there for cheap living and big jobs are trickling out as prices hit their peak and then start sliding. Miami and San Antonio aren't faring much better. They're flagged as trouble zones with the values on decline, stuck in the same boat. Florida's getting hit from both sides. Price cuts are everywhere you look, and the number of homes for sale is at an all-time high, turning the market into a pressure cooker for anyone trying to offload a property. Sellers are in a bind. They either need to move fast or get left in the dust. Now, what does this mean for you? If you're a buyer, this is your golden ticket, your VIP pass to the housing market. You've got leverage like you haven't seen in years, with more homes to pick from, lower prices to haggle over, and sellers who will bend over backwards to close a deal. Maybe even throw in the kitchen sink. In Florida, those wild bidding wars that we saw for several years are a distant memory in most markets, with buyers calling the shots now. Texas buyers are in the driver's seat too. Austin's homes are sitting longer, giving you room to negotiate like a pro. But if you're selling, it's a tough market out there. You're really gonna have to dress up your house, and you're probably not gonna be able to price it for nearly as much as you think, or it's just gonna sit on the market. Florida sellers are living this reality, and some are dropping prices weekly just to get some buyers, praying for a bite. So is this a crash or a correction? I'm leaning towards correction for now. We're not seeing any foreclosures flooding the market or shady loans, ninja loans like in 2008. Not yet. Nothing too crazy. The South's got its own mess. Inventories are out of control, and if mortgage rates don't ease up, or heaven forbid they climb even higher, this could turn uglier than a possum caught in a rainstorm. That 300,000 home pileup across the region is a wake-up call you can't ignore though, and there's flashing signs that there's trouble ahead. Keep your eyes peeled on listings and what the Fed's up to with their no-hurry stance on cutting rates and dragging their feet for longer than expected. If you're thinking about investing, timing is everything. If you buy too early, you might catch a falling knife. You wait too long, and the best deals could slip through your fingers. No renters? You're not off the hook either. Softening home prices might nudge landlords to ease up on those insane rent hikes, especially in oversupplied hotspots like Miami or Dallas. Builders are feeling the heat too. New construction slowing to a crawl as they realize that demand just isn't there to match the supply, and that they've just dumped onto the market. It's a domino effect, rippling through the South. Realtors, lenders, even the local hardware store guy, they're all watching to see where this roller coaster lands. Now, what about the bigger picture? Now, jobs play a role in this too. Florida's tourism and Texas's tech and energy sectors could either prop this up or let it sink, depending on how they hold. Weather is another wild card. Hurricanes in Florida could keep insurance costs rising, scaring off even more buyers. And don't sleep on politics. Property, tax debates in Texas, and condo regulations in Florida could shift the game again. It's a tangled web, and we're all trying to untangle it. So what's your take on this whole thing? Are you in Florida or Texas, boots on the ground, watching this unfold? Drop your comments below. I'm dying to hear what's cooking in your neck of the woods. Is your neighborhood a buyer's paradise or a seller's nightmare? What's the word on the street? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below telling me what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.